Here we go. Slowly getting started with the homage to Boddhisattva Muni.
Jumbo Jole de Dijin Shebo Da Jumbo Yanda Bo Zobe Sange Bo Da Shazu Devara Shebo Jide Shebo Devo Deve Kalum Yurba Dana Meba Adam Benam Ge Jumbo Sange Jumbe Bege Vaja Ya Dubo Lo Jaze Lo Judu Gaze Bo Jole de Dijin Shebo Da Jumbo Yanda Bo Zobe Sange Rebo Do Jazo Debo Devara Shebo Jide Shebo Devo Deve Kalu Yuba Lana Meba Adam Benam Ge Jumbo Sange Jumbe Bege Vaja Ya Dubo Lo Jaze Lo Judu Gaze Jumbo Jole de Dijin Shebo Da Jumbo Yanda Zobe Sange Riba Da Shazu Deba Devara Shebo Jide Shebo Devo Deve Kalu Yuba Lana Meba Adam Benam Ge Jumbo Sange Jumbe Bege Vaja Ya Dubo Lo Jaze Judu Gaze Gane sobo kyodamche Sache de la gomba de mule Mane jipin dina choche zo Teze kewo gyola jaza Nanda kuma chodu zuzangwa Ishi gyaso seke lumbora Damba jide zuna lambewa Gombo juni gyola jaza Senjo denva chime tawesha Sendon rawa kyula ja Zelo de kyunra sipa sumaji Nyame kinjin kyula ja Zelo gombo tuje jendenva Tamje kembe donva Sona yenden gyazo jen Dejin shela ja Zelo Taben de jan trevar gyur Gewe gezole Tidu dana chungyun pa Shigyu gyula cha Cholen chove layandu Lapa dala rundu Shingi damba yendende Gindu layandu Dikpa chiyam mejarashin Gewa punsum sobar gir Rangi sene yolzundu Dene sangi dembayin Karma rare mamela Gyoma seba chukurda Belang loda dinda Duji chana didarida Sonam diye damje sebayi Goban tane kyunge ratu Kada nada chive lapchule Sive sobe roa kubarashu To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. To these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the all false, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death. Baba Terese, Wanju, Shera, Parudu, Chimbo, Sama Chuba, Nila, Number, Tashin, Kumbo, Nambo, the Dalaya, Shiki, Tongwa, Number, Tao, and Sangi, Titu, Tedan, Demba, Sherib, Janju, Zemba, Sembo, Chimbo, Baba Terese, Wanju, Tike, Jemezo, Ridibu, Kamala, Shera, Parudu, Chimbo, Samo, Cheba, Chuba, Duba, Tejita, Labarja. Dege jeme bodo janju zembo sembo chembo baba chere se wanju Tela demba shari dadi bula dege jeme su shari fu rigi mu kala la sharangi harudu chembo samo chebo chebo deba de titar nambar tawar jade kumbo ngabo de dala yang ranshingi tomba nambar yanda bar jesu tau tomba ni zu so zo tomba ni demai tomba ni le kya zu shemai no Keshendo Tsorwana Dushedan Nambar Shebana Tomba Sharibu Deda Shedanje Tomba Nide Sini Meba Mageba Magamba Tima Meba Tima Dan Shewa Chewa Meba Gawa Meba O Sharibu Deda Wena Tomba Nila Zume Sorwame Dujim Nambar Shebame Nime Nawame Name Cheme Lume Yime Lume Trame Chime Rume Rekame Chume Do Nike Kame Bane Yike Kame Ike Nambar Shebe Kanje Bardo Yamedo Mareba Seba Meba Nime Kashi Sebe Bardo Yamedo Tejin Doma Wada Kunju Wada Obada Lame Yeshe Toba me mato payam edo sharibu deda wena chanju semba na toba me be shir shirage barudu jemba latenje ne de semba treba meche traba me de chinje lole shindu de nyangele debe tar chindu Yusung Namba Shumbe Sange Damje Sheramji Barudu Jemba latene lana meba yanda bar zobe chanju Ubar zoba sange so de dawana sherange baru de chimbe nga riba chimbe nga nana mebe nga minya bada nyambe nga dongye tamje ratu shivar chimbe nga mizu mena dembar shivar chate sherange baru de chimbe meba te yata gade para sam gade puti Rebu chanju semba sembo teta sherabje parudo jembo samo la la bar jau nene chumden de tegi zinde le shinde chanju semba jembo Baba Jereze Wanjula Lexo Shechawa Jene Lexo Riki U Dede Shino Dede Shinde Jida Chushe Tepa Shin Sheraje Barundu Jimbo Zamola Cheparajane Deshi Sheba Namyan Jesu Yiramu Chonde Dege Dege Jeka Sene Sedan Demba Shari Tate Aju Semba Semba Jembo Baba Jereze Wanjuda Tamjedan Debe Kur Dada Lada Meda Lama Yeda Deza Jebe Jide Yira Yonde Dege Zumba Lama Baradendo. Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound wisdom Ganga? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond. And because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed by Oh, Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family. It is exactly like that. Profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said. And then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So in the noble discourse, in the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
Boddhisattva ni mukul dirwa number 3 tops. Oh ya tangi body tengi tops. Somebody ani ni mukul jube top. Ani shibadi nyabala lar tops. Oh ni mu topshi. Diba shabala ani ni mu topshi ni jibi chango yuwa indu tamata tu ni bu 이게 아니 니 뭐 topshi ta shaya yuni be diba shaba katula. Ani ni mu topshi ta shi shungo reso.
Thank you. And here we are, resuming our Wednesday evening lesson in the way of the Bodhisattva. And this is the second chapter of the way of the Bodhisattva, a chapter concerned with the 4 antidote powers. And following the way they are presented in the way of the Bodhisattva, the first of these antidote powers is the antidote power of remorse. The second, the antidote power of support. The third, the antidote power of the application of the antidotes. And fourth, the antidote power of future restraint. And as part of the practice of confession, one has to make sure all 4 are complete. The second chapter of the way of the Bodhisattva is concerned with confession. That is confession, and these 4 antidote powers are the topic.
Oh yeah, that number 3 but top tengi top. On chinzara that number sumba kan to shesa subject sumba ni mukundu jube top singe ka to la na de hi de yo reso. Sumba kundu jube.
The first and second antidote powers, that of remorse and the support, we've completed, and we turn our attention to the third, the application of the antidotes.
어두지다 계산하고 가르치는다. 지금 밖에 subject 빼고는 아니다. 이 디버샤 주 땡겨요. 디버샤 되게 샤워치 주 땡겨요. 제가 뒤에도 계산하고 지금 타만 가르스나. 타면 내지 지금 양스. 매매 맛이 잡고는 되잖아. 또 예제 내지 따봐. 내지 따뜻 지면 매지고 계산되는 쉬어쉬다. 제가 알아서 그 탐매배네 지금 심바마지 받았는데 아니 류메데와 짬라야 아니 멤베기다 가르치세는 이 제국이 열어서 멤베기 나신 제국은 멤베기 가르치 수수고 대바메바 사세네 사고래 아니 수수고 상라 막 배나 뒤유나랑 좀 뭐이나 수수 모셔버도지 수수래야지 갑도지다 세모도 주고 있나야 아주 마수버 아니 근데 요래 이네 멤 수수부터 지벌을 좀 쪼배치도 아니 멤베기 라나 갑주고래 아니 티시안 샤그래 가르쳐봐 있나야 아니 안쪽에 그 라바나시 지구고 여러 와서 베틸 샤네스 아니 가서다 니모도 세고도 시고요 레송스.
Last week, we read verse 54 from page 45, which presents us with an example to illuminate how we ought to respond to advice and counsel regarding the mental afflictions. For if alarmed by common ailments, I must implement the doctor's words, what need to speak of when I'm constantly brought low by ills like lust and faults 100-fold. The meaning being, when ordinarily we are sick with some sort of mental illness or with physical pain, whatever the attending physician recommends for us, we follow his direction or her direction, and though ordinarily we may find unpleasant being pinched or being injected with a needle, if that is the treatment, if that is a course of treatment advised, then we will do just that. And so likewise, when the illness is the mental afflictions, we should follow the physician's advice for their elimination.
제가 다 말아서 통화 매반에 제네 아니 사샤베다 동해 용역이 유 디바 대자시다 때문 숨게 됐다 아주 배 뒤 닫아보던 날에 동해 전부 동해 내 되자라서 예제에서도 되자라 소보게 아니 예바 첨부유죠 예바 망보유죠 다 되자다 혼도 조주베다 근데 요티도 알아서 다 통화 매번에 주는 동행을 잘 근데 아니 배 동행 첨부 내 첨부 되라 내 아니 되게 따바들라 가르치는 거죠 매번 매 탈에 탑된 거 말해 탑된 거로 왔어 제가 탑 아니 된 돈이겠다 배는 맨 탐에 내 세버 체베 멤버 때만 나시 아니 니모데다 세버 체베게 세 돈이기 매베게 초 아니 상게 좀 되는데 니모데다 세 돈이기 멤버 자와 아니 상게 좀 되더라 땡고레스 마데나 아니 예버티다 다그 말레스 어제 빼자는 송비어레서
So from beginningless time, we have been under the sway of the mental afflictions, which are the sole cause of suffering. These mental afflictions are desirous attachment and aversion and ignorance. And from beginningless time up until the present moment, we have remained sick and, as it were, infected by these mental afflictions, desire, anger, and all the rest. And the injury caused by these is severe, and it has been long-lasting. And so when the illness is so grave, and it has been continuous for so long, why not rely upon the counsel of one who has a treatment, the supreme physician among physicians, the Boddhisattva, as though an ordinary physician, but the physician for the elimination and the treatment of the mental afflictions. Why not rely upon this supreme physician in the way we do ordinary physicians?
호이다 간다르 매매기 예보 아니 배상게 좀 된데 가능성이 전에 아니 님부터 없이 때네 님부터 없이 라네 아니 님부터 없이 또 나라게 디바데 샤바 제고레스 님부터 산제기 가나와 나시 전에 님부터 없이 또지 아니 라게 사베게 레디기 레다 아니 레산이기 유모 아니 되기 사베 제부터 동에 제가 나시기 동에 아니 성도 제베 동에 가리면 되게 보라 아니 다 님부터 없이 보는 거 샤바체 여러 샤는 다 그랬어 제단다 산제 가나시 지금 샤바체네 님부를 배우고 해서
Then, just as advised by the Boddhisattva supreme physician, we ought to apply the antidote powers. This begins with confession to non-virtues for which we are responsible, and through confession, the addressing and eradication of those destructive tendencies. This would be to follow the advice of the Boddhisattva. It would be the advice he gave for the elimination of the accumulated karmas and the mental afflictions that cause the accumulation of the karmas. By the accumulation of karmas, by the kleshas, the mental afflictions, one is beset by birth, aging, and death, and all the suffering they entail, and the sufferings of the hell realms. But when one confesses to one's destructive, non-virtuous actions, then one begins the purification of them. And so the Buddha advised one to energetically pursue the application of the antidote powers.
Oh yeah, that in a training subject, then you got 투숨기 아니 내디 투숨기 내디 님이 신도 치지 대 점바 아니 대 점바 매 군조 땡고 봤어 아니 다 대점바 다 투숨 그냥 아주 다내 점바라 내디 세바 암지기 매 땡기 내 뭐쳐네 아니 같이 그래 매 땡기로 와매 땡네 아니 매 사는 내디 타고로 되나시 다 님이 되라 님이 통하라 아니 통네 님이 되게 세베게 아니 맹이 쳐도디 아니 다 조초 군조래 오예 뒤땡 고바디 답지티 시기 어레스 디제 다디 아니 자월 가르스나 다디 오마데다 디지 기자 점링나 네베 미나 꿀라나 에다 스레 메시니 저노 군을 미니 나스 어디 색시디 다디 땡 고바디 sabjeti 자와데레 손스
When we are ill, we go to the doctor who is able to diagnose us and give us a prescription. And should we choose to follow the advice of the physician, we may recover. And so here, the verses describe for us the way in which, having discovered the injuriousness or the harmfulness of the mental afflictions, or the three poisons, we must also recognize the scarcity of the treatment, the preciousness of the treatment. And so the verse reads, verse 55, and if by one of these alone the dwellers in the world are all thrown down, and if no other remedy exists, no other healing elsewhere to be found than words of the all-knowing doctor, which uproot our every evil, the thought to turn on him deaf ears is abject and contemptible stupidity. So it is that the Buddha Dharma, the Dharma itself, is the treatment. It is the medicine that is able to eliminate the mental afflictions. And so this is the root verse describing just this.
Okay, sometimes to timu mariba danzi mariba sero mariba ti wangi mo sumi ji namdo ti wangi ani ta rangi lulung jola chabe chaba decha ani decha ti jesu chani kebe konro yorda konro ke shenla never chebe konro o tidu nimu khari inaya nimu chigi inaya ani khari chigresna zambuling na yebe 아니 내베기 미차나 라버 제도레스 라버 제도가 공간도 고르베 동에 다 제딜레 차샤웨는 치외 동에 두쇼레 되네 나와 가와 치외 동에 요레 다 세치말에 있나야 아니 수술로 대화 토베야 내가 송도 동에 디버 침묵이 제베 레이는 여와 디버 딩 제베는 니다 충무체가 있나 들어 딜레기다 나들 동에 라버 제바 동에 유마 제바 라버 제바 오, 된지 제디 네, 아니 뭐 된지 라고 지토를 해서 뭐.
How then should we think of the meaning of these verses? We ought to understand that the ignorance of self-grasping causes us to engage in improper conceptual thought. That improper conceptual thought imagines justification for attachment found in one's own body and one's possessions, and becomes disproportionately attached to these. That attachment then brings in turn an aversion toward others and a hostility and maliciousness towards others. As the verse says, and if by one of these alone, that is one among the mental afflictions, if by one of these alone, the dwellers in the world are all thrown down, that is, if one mental affliction is able to make such quick work of all of sentient life in this way, that is, in our own lives, we must suffer the unbearable pain of death. And in future lives, if our misconduct or if our destructive impulses have been not the very gravest, we are reborn as animals. If they have been graver, then as pretas, and if they have been very grave, then in the hell realms. And there we suffer tremendously. So any mental affliction is able to cause this destruction, can make this sort of quick work of us.
Oh, yes, 나라도 탐해배 나라도 뜻뜻 나라도 제 수준 메시지 나와 아니 랑기 직세주 머리 벌어서 내 나서 총알아 쓰다가 아니 멤버 때문이나 멤버기 탑지네 아니 죄 두야다 아니 죄 탑 뭐요 같은 데서 나 단단 가족이 직박에 알아서 배 동행 배 텐트 참을때 돈 얘기 너가 친구께 돈 얘기 단내 뉴모다 뉴모티 샤베 레든소 아니 스웨메 가르치고 그러나 아니 다 산지기 숭베게 아니 다숭 이 냠술랑네 다 산지기 숭베 다 랍제도랑 냠술랑네 아니 지금 람 이못된 람 공부를 마셔나 아니 시행 관계장 아니 시행이 곧 내대 세도요 탑시 시행 강해요 말했어 지대나라야 멤버께다 전부 있나요다 아니 지금 거기 투던 여바 가서 여바 있나요 말한도 동해 깨버 제대다게 유모되다다 레되다 세버 제도가 매 탑시 시행다 강해요 말 녀요 말해서 수고를 하면서 숙순바데
As for the third line, and if no other remedy exists, for an ordinary person in their life, when they fall ill, in all likelihood, there are an abundance of treatments available. And one may find a physician, find a doctor, and find a treatment. But in the pertinent case here of mental afflictions, any one of which can make such quick work of any one of us, and all of the karmas that they cause, the treatment for these is but one that given to us by the Buddha, and the implementation, the application of that dharma taught by the Buddha, that advice given by the Buddha. And if we fail to follow the advice and fail to apply the antidote powers, then there is no alternative that will lead us to any sort of recovery. And so, no matter how celebrated the ordinary doctor may be, no matter how talented and no matter their status, nevertheless they don't have the treatment for the mental afflictions.
치료 신발 빠르나 신발 치료 바지도 빠르나 이거 빨리 세 나와요 아니 다른 인들은다 나 처음 거는 매년나 즉 시와되기 나가서 되게 아니 달람 탑신 때는 예와 매바인다 아니 신도 꼽아 매년 매년 신도 꼽아서 내 탑되는데 아니 산지 양직마도 다 아니 신다 신 관계에 좀 두고 매봐 아니 되게 선도 지도를 아니 탑신은 미니버스 그 꼽부이 베준세 그 가서 산지 마도 신망 지대나 암지망고 요나 신고들이 배고 매봐 꼽부이 베인다 아니 초 간도 째나야 미니버스 때는 미니버다 말에 돼 이내다 꼽부이 베준세 아니 미니버스 어디 숨고래서
And for the fourth line of verse 55, no other healing elsewhere to be found, which is to say, exceedingly scarce. Apart from the Dharma of the Buddha, there's no treatment for the chronic illness of the mental afflictions. It isn't that there is no treatment at all, but only that it is exceedingly rare, scarce. And so, no matter the ordinary physician's talent, they won't do. The Buddha alone is able to provide the treatment. So one searches, but does not find healing elsewhere, no other healing elsewhere to be found. Not entirely absent, but the message is rare indeed.
그렇죠. 다디 subject이 살았죠. 다디 subject이 다는 멤버 초 아니 뎨박에 숨었다 안 루브리바스 subject이죠. 멤버 등아서 지는 멤버라니 초도 배바도 막 모여라. 내가 멤버 초도디 당하나도 또 대주간도 멤베 나는다 내 탐색이 기부 유무 다 10월 새벽에 람템버 이자 콜라 멤버 초스라 그러와 제가 멤버 초 아니 소리를 껴봐 고랑도 아니 숨게 아니 람투버 유무 시외 내 타다 내 참모되다 시외 되다라 아니 람고바 근데 숨말 어디 되다리 라기 냠내 제버도 그거도 리버스 어디 subjects to the journal.
The following verse illustrates for us the fittingness, the appropriateness of actually accomplishing following through with the treatment, the course of treatment advised by the Buddha, who is supreme among physicians. Then the words of the all-knowing doctor, which uproot our every ill, the thought to turn on him deaf ears is abject and contemptible stupidity. The Buddha is the supreme doctor, the all-knowing doctor, for the Buddha is able to eliminate the king of illnesses, that is the mental afflictions, thoroughly eliminate them, and by virtue of that, distinguish himself as supreme among physicians.
오야 텔라 멤버 탐지 켄 송원 탐지 지바이 까더미지 셈바니 신도 팀 멤버이 어떻게 된지 싸워드려서
And again, that root verse is 56. Then words of the all-knowing doctor, which uproot our every ill, the thought to turn on him deaf ears is abject and contemptible stupidity.
오야 다 되게서 같이 당고대 텔라 멤버 단 텔라스 좀다 내 대다 단단 뭐 소야게 내 아니 내게 배 신도 차봤다 간다 내게 배 아마 저기다 유모 대다 쓰고다 유모 대다 아니 멤버 탐지켜봐서 산지게스 제다다 유모 뭐 대다 세베 아니 멤버 탐지켜배기 아니 유모기 유모 뉴모베스 송호 탐지 짐벌 제베 까더 미체벌 다 가도 알도 맞교면 다 칼랍신다 다 탐메바 다다 네디스 간다 네 타다 배는 멤버 캐버기 아니 네다 가리나 뭐서 대처가 나지 다 니모데다 아 세베 타 타르치바 되니 아니 멤버 캐버디 상게 좀 되데 니체 니레스 어디지 소리잖아.
Nieres, ¿no?
니 어디 좀 되는지 지부레스.
No, nieres. Then words of the all-knowing doctor. The all-knowing doctor is the Buddha, which uproot our every ill. The teachings of the Buddha uproot every ill, in the sense that all ills are caused by the mother of all ills, the mental afflictions, which the Buddha's treatment can thoroughly eliminate. The thought to turn on him deaf ears is abject and contemptible stupidity. The Buddha has diagnosed all with the plight of sickness caused by the mental afflictions and has given a prognostication based upon following his treatment and has shown the way, the positive prognostication.
오야 다 되네 가르스나 다 지니바디 수무 탐지 짐바 이스디 다 수무스도 방도 나자르다는 세르자버스도 배 나자르 배 세르 잡고 잡았어도 어디서 수무탄 에데기 배다 하나도 저배 직 여다 유무고 원게 아니 직 밖에 간다다 동해기 배 좀 서마도 같은 데기 동해 냥고야 돼 아니 유무 투숨다 티샤베 레기 아니 레디기 아니 동해디다 다 지버치야 가서 동해디다 영화 찍어와 어디데 동해디다 영화 제바디 아니 가르치는 제발에서나 아니 아주 산지기 까더 미제벌 고와 동화매반에 아니 게로고 주 유모데다가 마방 산지기 유모데다 빵고래 송으로 아주 빵 유모 파파야 파샤 유모데다 두고서 유모데다 루비온데 니몬 대다기 들고 되라 아니 중에 그 타매봐 세가매봐 되게디 아니 요구요바디 아니 딱 간도 산지기 남때를 남들한테 냠도 말아봐 산지 까나시 마집에 오기 아니 베타 말아도 다데 그림이 깨와 뒤부터 깨와 통화매봐 내세네 유기 온게 레그 사바 되들 아니 딱 간데 삼바사 유를 라바들라 근데 라바 대유광게 중화를 해서 보나
which uproot our every evil. The thought to turn on him deaf ears is abject and contemptible stupidity. Now, every ill, the illness is searing. It's excruciating. This is the sense of illness, and it's searing, excruciating pain of karmas and the kleshas. It is intolerable for us, and the Buddha has indicated that the intolerable pain is caused by mental afflictions. Has made clear that should we ask why it is we have to suffer so, the answer is because of indulgence of the mental afflictions. Whereas the Buddha has strongly advised one to abandon every last mental affliction, we have instead, since beginningless time, continued to preserve them in our minds, and until the present, right up until the present, we have only succeeded in furthering the mental afflictions and never removing them, though they are cause of our intolerable suffering. And so it is that the path, the way advised by the Buddha, we have resisted and done instead just the opposite of his counsel. And so it is that though he indicated the cause of our intolerable suffering, we have indulged just those causes.
Oh yeah, that's a shabbat shibu timu maybe nestar. The shibu timu was have to uberes. That the day that Kevanam member, Kevanam Beta cannot bet north of this Akas Bay on the Betan of the Sheshetan of members of the book on the Sheshetan was a or near Imbe. And in that's any Karichugores Lanata, Yaman Karichugor, in Taban and Temple of Tebsone, and it's Tembe soon be lumped that sushi the Jamson Lang. And it happened up by the Bassa Sava, Shabache, Chinju, the one which is somebody in Ibutoshi Labores.
The thought to turn on him deaf ears is abject and contemptible stupidity, which is to say, it is a pathetic thing to do. Any wiser person, every wiser person, looks upon such foolishness as contemptible foolishness. Any wise person would upbraid another for behaving that way. What one does instead then is achieve and implement just what the Buddha has instructed us to, and the commitment to make is to, from the depths of one's heart, confess one's negativities and apply the antidote powers to follow the course advised by the Buddha.
Oh, the members some did do Tambanya sing Jorwa. Do Tambanya, any the consent member 10 members, consent member 10 members, Luigi member means any usually Sheba gas. Conducted Semji, Sem Chu Tunyegita, member Jorwa, the member is Lu Chu Tunyedi, Lu Chunyedi, Lulape Juatan Tunyedi, the member of Gumares. And the Karchin Resna, Yiju disorder. Yijul and Sembakas Hanzuka, Sem Juatan Jorwa, Sem Juatan, any Shirag. Kalekos, sempre Yeshinia, sempre Juatan to Zedi, Shida Kalekabores. 규제의 셈생도 요땅 두고도나 땅 중에 되나 멤버스라 그래서 도저만 지나는데 송거래서 세우상
Yeah. In the Sutra of close mindfulness, we find the verse that says, they who treat the body are not the physicians. Those who treat the mind are the true physicians. Why is it so? Because treating the mind is incredibly difficult, whereas causing change in the body is comparatively easy. Changing the habits of mind is incredibly difficult. And so whoever is able to change the mind is the physician.
제자들이 이제는 당도 셈 제벌 제벌 남더니디 아니 산제이다 아니 산제다 멤버게 타니 지기요 그래서
And so it is that the difficulty of treating the mind being the greatest difficulty of all, the individual who is able to treat the mind is ultimately supreme among physicians.
도시 다네 니바 다진디 가로디 바 대니디 아니 멤버 쪽에 리포트 두바서 다네 딜 빼템바스 다디 간다르 리포트 두고 빼들라 빼더네 니 셰바들라 아니 자와디르샤 양사 탐에 중원랑 바유네버 자고나 어제 동도 홍화이 유리 양사 묘지 고스 어디 빼고 됐다 봐시 그래서
So we have seen the harmfulness of the three poisons and the scarcity of any treatment. And we have found the appropriateness of relying upon practicing in accordance with the counsel of the supreme physician. And now, by way of examples, we will find the need to purify negativities illustrated by way of example, the example of drawing near a precipice and the caution one must have. Along a small, verse 57, along a small and ordinary cliff, if I must pick my way with special care, what need to speak of that long-lasting chasm plunging to the depths of 1,000 leagues?
It's not. No. Yeah. Yeah. I think it might be outside.
Bothering my lungs.
It didn't start that way. Through
No.
like all of a sudden came on. If you put a mask on, my, I think that will help me.
Oh, okay.
더
Well,
다 양사 이 지방원이 양사 타는 중고나야 바유 때문에 자꾸 나왔어. 제가 나가서 배나 수고 그런 중계 부시도 아니지 거기 거기 리더 달라. 소바트 달라. 아니 랑 그거 이해나 아니 걸 랑이 마사리야다. 아니 도와지 그런 양날 내가 뭐요 치도라 아니 랑이 바이오시고 주지 그 삽설적으로 왔을 때 삽설적으로 도왔다 제가 배다 잘 자기는 마사야 그런데 가서 탐들에 사야 내가 간걸 껴봐 쳐버려 니 지금 리도 그거는 마사야 탑시만 붙이고 도왔어 제가 양서 취주 되지라 아니 ran 그 템버전에 붙이는데 땡고 위에나스 아니 다 양서 친구 들레 양서 친구 하려고 아빠 친구 아니 거기에 손을 동그들 아니 가르치는 템베 바이오 때문에 치고 말해서 제가 때문에 제가 치고 그래서 무슨 거를
Along a small and ordinary cliff, if I must pick my way with special care, what need to speak of that long-lasting chasm plunging to the depths 1,000 leagues? This illustrates for us when we scale cliffs, when we go mountain climbing, when we are cautious and place protection as we go so that we do not fall, when we're this careful as we proceed, and it makes sense to be careful as we proceed, when the chasm yawning beneath us is the hell realms, why wouldn't we proceed with equal care?
배나가서 양사 단단하고 양사 중국 박세 직 사야게 산은 지금 바이오 땡고 위에나 아니 단단하고 밀루토네 마 여성의 기능이나 배나녀와 기능이 뭐이나 아니 박세 동진이동 마 그거지 보면 제발 열었어 아니 얘 유름부 배사부 근데 양사비 열었잖아 대대 사유 수요인데 아니 예발도 콜라다 마사야 탑 아니 이님부 때인데 아니 바유 수수배 참바 시식이 아니 냠내 지고 예발도 지고 그랬어 예발 지고 열었어 제가 대대 이도 아니 다 가르쳐 버렸어 일단 이뭐 마사야 탑 때문에 가르쳐나 아니 다 이뭐 또 시기고는 이거 랑이 싸 이거도 다 봐봐 아니 실은 아야 이거 마사야 이거 지금 내서 봐
Imagine at first, in one's fear of heights, it is a fear of a fall that's 1 league in height, and one would be fearful. But then imagine the fall entailed from a precious human rebirth all the way down to a hell realm. This would be 30,200 leagues compared to that 1 league fall. And so when the difference in height is so great, the profundity of the fall is so great, and when the duration of the fall is so great, the need to place protection, the protection of mindfulness and vigilance, is apparent. And the protection is the application, the very application of the antidote powers to acknowledge and confess to past destructive tendencies, negative actions, in order to purify them, and then the practice of future restraint, the commitment or intention never to engage in any destructive action of the sort again.
Yeah. That and they that you got to kill us. We have a tail, the ring in it, the under the you got to hit there, and because the ring in it, the way you would take over, Bever Ribas. Other than Bever Ribat, that Bever Riba subject is that subject is there and Zawadi, and the cousin, the ring corner Michis, they were Duba, Rimais, they were Duba Rimai, Dani never purity. Then Demisawa Jones or the subject there, saw the response.
So with that, with this verse, becomes apparent the need to purify negativities. This is illustrated by the example of taking care near a precipice. And so we move now to the appropriateness of swiftly making an effort to take great care. And this involves applying the antidote from today forward. We find this described in the following verse. Today at least, verse 58, today at least I shall not die, so rash to lull myself with words like these. My dissolution and my hour of death will come to me, of this there is no doubt.
Oh, yes, that and then you do that, Parisarasna, say, come when you dig that Teril Kona Mishi, they were to remind you, say, come when you get that under Naranzo. Then Nimbula Beba Tian, and then Naranzo chick. Bayadi, and Naranzo Chizo Kanam to you, Samlo Nala. And then Jamaji to do ya was Rasuma Chigo Samba. And then Jamaji Chigo Belo Jamaji Mother Johnson Maria Sama. And it's a dog Jamado, the Chigo Samba around to Tolena, the day your was. Then this some time did. And then it did the Chigo somebody, and the people Mares, the Mares, Casanata. Yamlin, Yamlin Chedi, Chu Yamlin Chesedi, and then. Tata, Tring, and go to the Yaman Chego, Mazoji, the day to do Sambota, and then Jama, the Chebaina, and the Kion Carriosna. That Tanda in Machina, and the Kion Carsna, that Tring Rangmashiva, the Sunny Machiwagi, and he Dingo, Yabado, the Rama Yomaris, Chezan, that Chivaina, and it done. Rang the Lelo chain, Imbutoshi Matema chain, and it's Chivaina. And it done Qatar, Ibati, one guy, and it done, yes, on to Gala Soba Chena, and it done. And it conducted yes, on to Gala Soba Yonsana, and it Yanju Tibashai, Kogopti, never, Yomar said, never indeed, Chitata in Chekovati, and touch in the Chekovati, so we are resting.
The first two lines of verse 58, today at least I shall not die, so rash to lull myself with words like these, urges upon us the need to, with discipline and great effort, begin the application of antidotes at this very moment. Because the tendency, the ordinary tendency, the one that's common in our culture, is to imagine that there will be a riper moment in the future for taking advantage of this moment, that a better time is on the way to start, that next year would be the right time, or perhaps next month would be the right time, whereas right now is too early. We feel this way, but this is illogical because the application of the antidote powers, the practice of the Dharma, is a practice at this very moment. This very moment, it must begin at this very moment, and today. There's no better moment to begin. The disadvantage, the grave disadvantage of delay is that one actually has no assurance that one will be alive tomorrow. And so this is the only moment we're sure of. And so this is the only moment that it is logical to use to begin the application of the antidote powers in the practice of the Dharma. Otherwise, we run the very grave risk of delaying and then dying, and by the force of destructive tendencies, tumbling into the hell realms. And once we have begun to experience unremitting suffering in the hell realms, at that moment, any opportunity for the accumulation of virtue will vanish. And so the importance of deciding to practice from this very moment forth.
Oh, yeah, that is saying about the Dana never do it, any demons or tones, that, and she never do it to the Sunny Pedger Demis or Mijuin never your maras, Juana, and the Juana and the Lelu on the Drang to cock up to the shoulder, Lelo Mazeba, Terini. 아니 뭐 돕시라 하다 주주 다와다 로다 될 나이바 주주 찍이네 까만 찍이네 배 하다 치냐네 봐 아니 뭐 돕시 그냥 내 제고가 돼 개침부 이거 수고를 손
The ordinary tendency to delay, to imagine, oh well, in all likelihood tomorrow I'll be able to practice as I should now. Tomorrow I'll likely still be living. This is illogical, and there's no assurance guaranteeing that. And so that is only, thinking this way is only to lose the chance at this moment to practice the Dharma. And so the tendency to delay by a year or by a month or by a day or even by a minute is problematic. There should be no delay.
그래서 어야 다디네 다 동행지 미직발라 진짜 찌매베 람고발라 레로 미쳐와 아니 레로 쳐와 미리바 다 sabjeti 때문에 싸와디 가서 달라 미직 수이진 내래 지들 녀들 줄 되미 싸워 매줄나 지들 다기 되어 두 어디 싸와디 그 sabjeti 싸와디 때문에
This is followed by an illumination of how it is that because there is no good reason not to fear death, that it would be inappropriate to allow laziness to interfere with meditation on the path. And so verse 59 reads, "Who can give me fearlessness? What sure escape is there from this? It's certain that I'm going to die. So how can I relax my mind at ease?"
그래서 어야 다디 지금 당고디 달라 집어 수이 진스다 달라서 수술라스 다 미지바디 달라 미지바 수이 진스 달라 수술라 직자 먹어와 근데 집어째 먹어야 되는데 뽑았다 수술 가야 요 말에 수술라 근데 배 신나치 또 알레 유선들도다 지금 제시 거는 주나 나 완전 치야 아니 집어체배 미변시 미변배 아니 집어체고 말했으나 집어체고야 신나야 아니 집어체고야 요 말에 집어체나야 팽기 말했으나 봐 이나스 아니 딜라다 되게 제단 되게 랜들라 가르스나 아니 나랑도 다 미션의 수이나야 치와 미기 통그래 암조 고그래 아니 디네 신의 년도 동안양 수술 요시 말해서 간다 수술 규라 년도 동안 규래 미기와 요사도 디버드 요시 말해서 세단 달라 디버드 요시 바 이두 아니 달라 치위 지버 지버 달라 치위 지부에서 지금 누구봐 아니 가야 요 말에 수직 수술 지금 뭐에 뽑아 요 말에 누가 요 말에 아니 수강게 들어야 겹투가 돼요 말에 어디 숨어서 담고 돼요.
Who can give me fearlessness? The me is each one of us, ourselves. Who can give me fearlessness? That is, who is there out there who can assure us that we needn't fear death? Who out there is so trustworthy, so deserving of confidence when they tell us that we needn't fear death, that we can relax and find calm again? Let me return to this explanation again from the top. Who can give me fearlessness? Who out there can I trust when they say you have no need to fear? Who could I trust who might say that to me when everywhere I see death and I hear of death, and I also am certain that in my own mind I have the causes that will result in my experience of the hell realms. This is present in me, these causes for a future spent in the hell realms. I see and hear of death everywhere. And so when I'm told by another there's no need to fear death, where would I find confidence? Where would I imagine any potential intervention, any protection from the plight that is assured to me?
예, 다른 데그래서 하나 이제 거기에 집어 제목이야. 누가도 뽑은 수술 간 요 말에 신기 수술 때저 때려 하는 수야 간요 말에 근데 매번 인상스 아니 몰라 마베나 지금 버들레 바 타려야기 아니 몰라 마베나 아니 비버다 치워 아니 지달 타고 요그레스 타려야 탑신 봐요 말에스 그래서 매번도 간데스 탈그레스 딱 이버디 되게 된다. 지달 때를 타고 요새는
Who can give me fearlessness? What sure escape is there from this? So for this second line, when there is no other with the power, with the ability, with dispensation to give of freedom from death, when there is no such individual, what is left to us? No course of action but to ourselves remove the negativities in us and to make an effort at that. Apart from this, there is no favorable dispensation to us to avert the pain and fear of death.
죄송. 예, 제자다 간단히 몰라 마베나 아니 예벌 콜 타르바 타비 쉐 매바 인다스 난 메타르바 이나 나 예벌 메타르나 아니 신에 가르치르다 되면서 아니 간다 바게 예손을 동안도 조그레스 제자다 디베니 몰라 데리 줄고 요바 이나 아니 디베니 몰라 가르치니 아니 럽기 메스 가르치는 내로 지기요 내로 왕게 아니 배 드리는 가르치는 럽기 메스 럽고레스 디왕게 드리네 아니 다 간다 바게 다기 이 대화 중에 동해 봐 시와치야 대화 중에 rel라 남나 예벌도 럽고 차고 지지도 니부터 없이 럽고레스 니부터 없이 럽 배를 차고
It's certain that I'm going to die, so how can I relax my mind at ease? When, apart from making an energetic effort to eliminate non-virtues that cause rebirth in lower realms and suffering, when apart from this, there is no likely intervention to save us from the fear of death, why do we drag our feet in our practice? Why do we not energetically practice the application of the antidote powers? It's certain that I'm going to die, so how can I relax my mind at ease? From this moment forward, then, from today on, what ought to be done is to engage in the path of practice that causes contentment and eliminates our pains and sufferings.
섹시버들어 섹시버들이 제대로 다게 되어도 가르치는 흘러지 되게 되어도 대체 가르치는 되게 위해서 대학 탑시 연말에 지정한 게 녀석 동을 집어치네 아니 그게 김부터 휘었던 타르 최고를 했었지 다디네 이 인부티 또 숨어 저다 또 숨어 저다 또 시바 예발라도 또 생들에스 예발라도 또 되나 다디네 마사제로 가시도다 그도 휴전 되어 or 예발라도 또 레샤 숨어
Then why the laziness when there's no justification given the urgency and the natural logical fear of the intolerable suffering in our future? Why not then apply the antidote powers with great energy? Do apply the antidote powers with great energy. And so with that, then we complete these verses describing the third antidote power, the application of the antidote powers. And now we move to the fourth, which is the fourth antidote power of future restraint.
Oh, yeah, that the lot of top singing any that Karesna. The running the emotion and the Giovacine, and change it up the chicken man some of Dobat. Never a lot of us in the race of this one.
And as for future restraint is the commitment, the solemn oath in recognition of one's past non-virtues to never engage in any similar non-virtue in the future.
Oh, yeah, tell that and that maybe the Guachamata in simple to the one Tala Bebas. The Mazu Penamazu maybe the Guachamas to Zamata, Mazu Pena. I know the maybe the Guachamata in simple to the one Tala Bebas. Oh, yeah, that in it that maybe the was a Tamil Gazeta. maybe the one Beba the Gazna, another the Longjula, he didn't move and it's Chabachiba very bus. Of the word, yes. Yeah. On the ranking Nimbu Mebas, maybe and the what Cheba the Jama 601, and then you go to the wallet Tala Bebas. Now this is something needs to come.
In the verses describing the antidote power of future restraint, we find first this future restraint described in terms of the remorse for accumulated non-virtues and the solemn commitment not to repeat them. And this is further divided in the verses into verses describing the need to purify non-virtues that were pointless in themselves, meaningless in themselves, and the need to make an energetic effort, at liberating oneself from the karmas of negative actions, and for this energetic effort to continue day and night. So these verses will come. And first, in the section describing the need to purify those negativities that were in and of themselves entirely pointless, this first verse, verse 60, describes for us how inappropriate it is to become very attached to fleeting possessions and engage in negativities because of them. So
Oh, yeah, that maybe the Guachamans singing the subject now, Longjula ten, he didn't want to Chaban Ribata, Niana ten, and then Chaban Ribata. Yes, all of the Chaban Ribata, the year,
within this, then, the pointless negativities, these are pointless negativities that are caused by inappropriate attachment to fleeting possessions and inappropriate attachment to fleeting friends and family.
야, 딱 농지를 때는 이름으로 차가 메리 봤으니 나도 제 자디 문지 용대 시발레스 다라 하베 지유나 다니 텔라 문신네스 라메카다 겨울체 소리 스치디 다 근데 농지를 때는 차가 메리 왔던 열에서
Now, the inappropriateness of attachment to fleeting belongings is described in verse 60. Of life's experiences, all seasons past, what's left to me, what now remains? By clinging to what now is here no more, my teacher's precepts I have disobeyed.
그래서 야, 다들 문지 용대 시발레스 다 문지 당고되게 문치 말아서 간다 봐도 딱 겨와 망불랑 요르스 겨와 디가슬랑 말세 잠깐 잡토야 내가 겨와랑 사레스 겨와랑 내가 아주 고알을 딱 걔네 아니 아주 롱주 준줄 하장 롱 망불 롱주 사레스 아주 배 단다 나라도 미 동아에 얘기가 배 전부는 또 시우 보고를 전부를 세야 돼 저는 아주 겨와랑 사레스 아주 양 사레스 아니 미 동야 매버는 배 하루 롱주 별로 롱주 영야这些 망부지야 저는 아주 용사레스 배 망부 용사 배 만용화 가지 매버도 레스 이나양 용사르데 그 템보 매버 이데 매버 인자 아니 이데 매로와 템보 매버 인자 단단하나도 셈나 트야 매버 아니 지금 용사레스에도 셈나 계속 템보이나 알레 삼바 지금 근데 이말에 삼바마도 개때면 도와스 해야면 버들에 도와스 세다 고 이데 매버 온기 내가 그랑 롱주를 롱죄 살때 안 되네당 요아치면 차대와 디 땡기 요래서 쓰당고데 문지 용대 시발을 세네 문지 망고 용사다 시기는 요 말을 쓰고다
So it is verse 60 of life's experience, all seasons past, what's left to me, what now remains. By clinging to what now is here no more, my teacher's precepts I have disobeyed. Up until this very moment, we have taken up countless, innumerable lives, incarnations in cyclic existence. And in those many lifetimes, which cannot possibly be counted, in those many lifetimes, we have spent each lifetime consuming, and the world as large and broad as it is, we have consumed as much in our innumerable lifetimes as is found there, and furthermore, we have consumed all the delicacies, all the enjoyments available to the gods in the heavenly realms too. But all these things that we have consumed are vanishing. And so most we don't even recall, and those we do recall are mere memories now. And we have now, despite our consumption, nothing to show for ourselves. We have consumed so much of resources and the rest, but now we have nothing to show. We are empty-handed.
야, 다디는 니바디 달라 하고 지유나 다도야 달라 다지 님보다 제베가 롱주 하고 지유나야 아니 개 이데메로와레 개 중세자니 랑이 반달다 랑아 바 키로야 팬 하데 그지만 수수비 치부도 아니 강가 다기 제바도 나시 뭐 중앙 영화나시 반대대 아니 제 랑이 제 집을 잡도 강가 샤는 팬도 샤는 그런 줘야를 뭐 지금 중세자랑 아니 사고 상만 키는 줘야 요 말이스 어디 지금 이번에 드신다
Of life's experience, what's left to me, what now remains. All of these, one and all, are vanishing things, and there's no likelihood whatsoever of their being portable for us or even beneficial to us at the moment when we shed this life and move on. All are dropped, we go entirely alone. Everything, every consumable vanishes, and there's no taking anything at all with us.
오야 다네 특성보다 다는 telling 뭐 신내서 봐 제가 단 telling 뭐 신내다 단다 말도 내 가르친다 뭐 사바도 용산 매바 식사래 단다 수수고 이제 예산바 남아대야 가다니 뭐 매바 때뭐 매바 들리진다 간다 수수고 제 친구 도도자마 강가배 잘라 유원하지 유니 자주로 제가 된대 인자 아니 다니 뭐 매바 들라 이뭐 매바 마셔봐 쟤네 단도 들라 배 몸벌 신이 차바기는 그 삼바도 저배 온 거 단도 배들라 차는 신이 단도랑 배 거기 차바체네 배 망고 줄대야 되죠 아니 다 가르쳐 버렸으나 아니 라메카다 겨와서 라메카다 겨와서 라마게 나나 가르다 저랑 뒤에 이모 왕게 제벨 레디 디바레 디빵거래 뭐 디빵네 아니 디 겨와 두고를 해야 돼 마주비 겨와디 마주버 가서 겨와 마주가 가서 겨와 두발라 겨와 두발라 가르쳐 버렸나 이모는 이모 때문에 이모는 이모 먼저 때문에 이모 먼저 배 이모 왕 레사 레배 이모 동에 이거 뻥어서 이거 마방에서 이거 줄대요 당하죠 제가 근데 이제 아니 라면가다 겨와 제가 라면가다 겨와 제가 인자 아니 될 겨와 체네 아니 라면가다 겨와 이거 셰바제 셰네 될 너로 셰바제 셰네 아니 제가 겨와 체네 아니 친구 미쳤습니다 아니 겨와 체고래서
Of life's experience, all seasons past, what's left to me, what now remains? By clinging to what now is here no more, my teacher's precepts I have disobeyed. Most experiences are entirely vanished now to us. We may think to ourselves that we have something now, at present we have something, and that it's solace now, but that too is a vanishing thing, and it too will be lost to us at the moment of our death. And so all of these things lack this substantiality that we imagine they have, but imagining their substantiality, imagining them to be durables, we are attached to them, and we incline our minds over and over again to them, and we act as though they were durables, and we engage in incredible amounts of effort and activities and karmas motivated in this way. And this is to contravene, to violate the very word of the spiritual mentor, who assured us that the mental afflictions must be abandoned, that the mental afflictions cause for us dissatisfaction, and that we most certainly must engage in constructive action, but we fail to abandon the mental afflictions and promote them, and we fail to engage in virtues, but rather avoid or fail to practice them. And in this way, where we ought to apply antidote powers to the mental afflictions, we instead promote mental afflictions. And so it is in these ways we violate the word and the spirit of the spiritual mentor. When we recognize that we have and do just this, this would cause for us remorse. And with that remorse, we would regain a commitment to future restraint.
거의 다 안정문제 대원 용여를 대원 인교 되게 단다 제배 유점지만 매번 차다 달랭은 아주 배하고 쉬우쉬우 지금 자신이 제 쉬우 제가 이나양 다른 제와 지부 제도 이게 강가 유면 치마 싸워 제가 줘야 세단 딜 님부 매바 통네 님부 돕시다 좀 맞춰고 안지 제배 디바 되게 봐 샤바세 진주 미지서 동선전에 님부 돕시 냠는 쪽으로 해서.
And so it is, we have this idea that we have durables on our hands, that the things that we have presently are not vanishing before our eyes, and we become attached to them. But the moment of death comes, and we traverse onward, and again are in search of new durables and things. And so it is, we ought to correct our misguided view and apply antidote powers now, and engage in confession now, and develop future restraint as well.
단연소로 차고 메리바딜라 아니 선제 디다 대신도 녀다 세번 남았네. 지구 가시 로거나 자다면서 자다 면서 꾸치 롱 오다디 자와디 간제니에서 차고 메리바 시송고여서
Next follows illustration of the inappropriateness of any attachment to friends and family that causes pointless, destructive action. In verse 61, and when this life is left behind, and with it all my kith and kin, I must set out on strange paths all alone. Why make so much of all my friends and foes?
오야 제단다 가레스나 다기 다 류디 님보메 류디 라는 단다 있어 다 수수고 류디 다 간다 류디 수다마다 나라도 세디기 류다 트레냠도 디지기 생기다 로보와 류디스 와 류디스 류디다 세디다스도 세디 나저가 류다 나라도 트레다 우니냠도 데베링라 아니 코스템보레샤 가그로 스템보레샤 세다 코 세디세 세디 어딘데 세디 로보레스 님보메바레스 어딘데 님보메바 세 수수고 류디당스 세다 세디당스 대신도 녀당스도 하마다 저고 가리나다 녀다 녀 수수고 분야다 되네 저보다 가리나 되게 아니 셰당스도 당을 게게 남았다 가리나 양스 탐제 빵네스 감제 바샤네 아니 지부 예바메바제는 이는 튼 로그레스 뭐레스 뭐 당분이디 선제 대단 대신도 녀다 셰바 남반네 세기디
Verse 61, and when this life is left behind, and with it all my kith and kin. In the present life, our present moment, it's a moment when our body is warm and we are respiring. It's a temporary situation that we are called living beings by virtue of warmth to the body and this yet unbroken breathing. And this is a temporary state of affairs. Attachment to kith and kin, friends, family, relatives, all of these people, and also one's teachers and all those acquaintances, all the rest, one and all are left behind. One goes on alone. And so this is what you ought to understand here in the first two lines of verse 61.
얘기 빼다 가오이 도고이 예 파마인 세도 다들 발민거들 제위점 제만 사war래 말레스 다 제가 되네 이거 다 수술 가야 예바 요 말스 수술 미착심에 줘들 좋아나 지졌다 뭔가 유매 사제 유매도 들어가야 되는데 니도 차버스 제가 되네 이도 아니 님고 매바스라고 그랬어 제가 다 로드 잡아네 라나다 수로 같이 두고래 랑게 얘기 빼 파마이 예 로고이 수술을 지금 거기 로고 지도해야 되는데 요래 그냥 요 말스 가가 수강 수술 고연대 쪽 지도고 말스 로 지도고 말스다 가르치기는 수술 아니래서 수술 빼 돼서 조사 약보지를 두고 있나요 수술 돼서 조사 제거래 수술 조사 약보 메시지를 두고 있나요 수술이 넣으셔 가지고 뒤에 아니 세대라 현자체 제 매바 대송비가 해서
With death, one goes on seeking out a new body, seeking out new parents, new friends, and one has no plan, no course of action. One is aimless as they go, and wonder as they might, who's here to help, who are the friends, who are the family, who may protect, help, and assist me in this tight spot. Wonder as one may, there'll be none to help, to assist. One is there oneself alone. If one finds oneself in a good spot, it's still one's own spot. And if one is finds oneself alone in a bad spot, it's their own fix and their own situation all alone.
예, 다 펜바 중세장 요말 수 방계 수수 저런데 치월래는데 아니 수수다 수강이 겹투야 요말 수강 펜 토고 말았어. 다 드리서 뭐 펜 토야 찌기 요바디 랑이 내 상고치죠. 여와 제죠. 선놈 사교 드레스 디기랑다 겹투 그래. 제가 비디 아니 펜바 중세장 맵에 차과 제바디 미리버레스 일라 차과 제바디는 너르바 시에체네 아니 지주들이 지금 해서 도선 지월에 도선 제니부 도식 양에 제들레스 드린들에 대셔서
So it is, the prospect is a prospect of no hope, no help, no protection, aside for the store one has oneself in good virtue, in merit, in autonomy. The preoccupations, ordinary attachments to these non-durables won't do any good. And so it is we leave off here.
야, 이 말은 저는 다른 주제에 있습니다. 아니 먼저 테스트 저지는 저는 연습을 보고서 되겠다. 되게 주고에는 저지는 제동.
Okay, so then if there are any questions, we can, the time has come to just wrap up that part of the class, and any doubts you may have, we can address them now in our Q&A. So if you've got a question, let's hear it.
님부터시다. 님부터시 있는데 해친부를 위해서 말해. 가다 님부터시 있는데 가다를 말하는 거 내가 넘겨 쇼죠 이제디 아니 요상체 내가 너로 시에네 아니 수수 너로 캐는 것 이제 제가 있나 아니 맞습니다. 이거 말하죠. 이거 사실 이게 아니 다 도야 이거 이제 지역이냐면 대치슈지 참여 해서.
So what do you think? Are the antidote powers important? Are they valuable practices? The 4 antidote powers allow us to identify mistakes and then straighten out our affairs. They involve the recognition of the mistake and the acceptance of responsibility, the acceptance of the mistake, and then the reconstructive process of purifying oneself of those non-virtues and negativities. So the antidote powers are very critical.
다 간단한 세치말 파트에서 뭐 폐마소야도 파유야 아니 폐토야도 주념도 키투야게 차지 냠내처래서.
And so as one prepares for an imminent departure, to dispense with the destructive and to quickly adopt the constructive is the advice here.
야, 아니 제가 이제는 내는 어때? 저리다.
So if any questions?
Yes, please.
Should I remind us what are the 4 antidote powers?
양기하르디 아니 님부터 시디.
이것도 없이 담보도 님부꾼도 집에 또 없습니다. 아니 이번에 땡이 또 없어. 지난 그런 양년시도 그런 예가 말했어. 아주 주주 시도 삼바 담보도 님부꾼도 집에 또 없습니다. 되네 땡이 또 없어. 담보 갈 말에 담보
순대 집에도
말아.
순대 집에도 담보.
서부 남부 수인집에 또 들어왔어. 어디 그거 남부 수인집에 또 주주나 시도 주주나 시라집에 남부 수인집에 또 없지. 되네 땡이 또 없지. 되네 님부꾼도 집에 또 없지. 하는 예발을 날도 없어. 주주 시나서 들으레스. 야 주주 냠을 빼지 심하다. 담보 땡이 또 담보 시야 되네 요. 땡이 또 담보 시야 되네 반지 또 시야 요.
They are, first, the antidote power of remorse. Second, the antidote power of the support. Third, the antidote power of the application of antidotes. And fourth, the antidote power of future restraint. The order is not standard. The order in which they are presented in the way of the Bodhisattva is just this order. But elsewhere, you will find that the antidote power of the support comes first.
What is the antidote? Support.
The nivotopichikinane, the tingi top karerech.
땡도 없어서 중간은 그거다 중간은 그거다 다 팀이야 대도 휴사기 그 팀별로 와 디처가 되게 맞아 딱 디바 샥사기 유디 아니 군조 숨데 맞아 땡이 또 해서
Just as one is brought before the judge when they are brought into the courthouse, the authority before whom one confesses to that for which one is responsible. There, the courthouse here for us is the courthouse where the three jewels are found. They are the support. The three jewels are the support.
나 군조 숨기 가르치겠으나 내가 군조 숨기 그런 쪽부터 군조 숨기 그때 또 이해 굉장히 가르쳐줘야겠으나 산지 군조기 먼저라 나가 땡기러 와 나가 딜레터나 나가 야가 딜레터나 나가 그거 해서 아니 딜레터서 나가 뒤다 야가 두고 이 말이 가르쳤다고 하는데 취업 군조 되게 현 딜레터나 아니 간다 내가 너무 말해 그래서 뭐 남무슨 양 로사기 나가지 취업 군조세 다 취업되고 도로 로봇을 긴두 군조 일단 군조 숨기 가도 야 예송비 동네네 이제는 이게 이 마사비 빠져 망고 살도 되나시 만에야 어제 만에 아 대로네 안에 담지게 산지 나중에 고만 들어요 진짜 되게 저거도 남다른 거요 일단 당고 나가 되니 지금 안에 뭐야 나가지 나가들 저러지 고도와 어디 나시 좀 그때들이 잘 숨겨래서
The antidote power of the support involves the support who are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are the support in this way. The Buddha shows the road ahead, the path to follow. This discriminates for us between constructive and destructive ways and indicates the preferred constructive path. And then the preferred constructive path itself is the Dharma. It is the constructive way to practice and the actual way. And the Sangha supports one in their journey, in their process. And because it's a journey of the way from the suffering of the hell realms onward and upward gradually over a great long time through progressive states of better fortune until one ultimately achieves arhatship and ultimately omniscience of Buddhahood. In this long route along the way, the first to show the way was the Buddha. The way itself is the Dharma, and those traveling along, supporting one in one's journey are the Sangha, and they are the support in this way. So for this reason, these are the support.
The note about losing our teachers when we die, is it even quantified how much practice we can do with the time we have left to make sure to meet the Dharma again? And that's if we're lucky enough to be human soon after this go around. My question.
네네. 아니 치웨드 밥네. 아니 소소 아니 게오신이 양디 도르네 로그로. 육네 로그로. 야 얘네 다 다 아니 마음바 개와 지말라
음.
아니 양기야를 쳐다 아니 개와 신인데 양기야를 제 아니 제와라 제와라 아니 냠는 같이 제 급에 체 아니 샤야 여러데 하고서 데디 미루 아니 렘보체디 톱네 니 쳐다 아니 개와 신인 제와라 냠는 제 급에 체
그래요. 다 보면 밀리아보로 와. 밀리아에서 교수좀 아니 거기 수수기 밀리도 내야지 교수님데 이인거 거래. 다티네 랑이 틱 거기 계획시의 최고 제외시도가 랑이 아니 뉴상보다 튀긴 거야 지도 집에냐면 거. 알아. 다티네 랑이 뉴 오모 창화다. 랑이 뉴든 좀 배다 단단하시 수수 단단하게 뉴상보 이원하시 제가 미리 토고 이유는 세배냐면 거. 그래서 다티네 아주 최양 거기 계획시의 최고냐면 제발라 준주기냐면은 단단 준주기냐면 맞으면 제가 그 준주 제부 이 용마와 준주기냐면 거. 아, 땡이진다. 또고 줄을 끼워 상대기냐면 거. 아, 동반이 되어서 싫어. 저도 남식이 싫어고 아니 싫어 버리냐. 제가 버린 쪽이냐면 얘는 아니 길이 양교제야 양교를 두배 여러 가지 상담을 해서
Yes, it's quantified. It's quantified. It's quantified this way that ethical discipline is the indispensable, necessary cause for a precious human rebirth, for the inheritance of a human body. In order to encounter again the spiritual mentor, one requires health in their body and surroundings that are supportive for the encounter. And this is ensured by the practice of generosity. In order for the encounter with the Buddha Dharma and with the spiritual mentor to be constructive, one must be in possession of all their faculties and have the most robust physical health. And this is ensured by the practice of patience. And then for the encounter with the spiritual mentor and the Dharma, through the healthy body, to yield any real results, there must be inherited again an urge to engage with energetic discipline. And this is caused by the practice of energetic discipline itself. And in order for there to be any discovery of the truth of the Buddha Dharma, for that discovery to take place in one's mind, one must have the basis of mental concentration. And mental concentration's cause is mental concentration as it's practiced. And then for there to be discriminating, penetrative wisdom, there must be the practice of wisdom. So to quantify what is necessary is done in the enumeration of the perfections themselves.
먼저 뒤에 어제 룸으로 시리즈 먼저 배당 보다 키도 좋아. 배상 친구 키를 계기도 키를 계기 무슨 친구 키를 계기해서 아니 좀 마소하지. 진바야 왔다. 제부 쓰기로 했어. 그래서
막 시든서 뭐
배상 친구 보다 키기도 이제 키도 가래. 코도 사야 통화 당에 연락 배우 주요가 코도가 진바도 되고는 새 농지도 강에 연락. 아, 그걸로 가래. 술 마시면 밀리티에 두잖아. 어떤데 뒤로 때를 수중에 그래서.
So we have plenty of stories of illustrating how this plays out. For instance, imagining the big family that has all of these guard dogs too, and you might say of these guard dogs that look at their fortune. The wealthy family has plenty to feed them, and they have everything they need in terms of what they need, their requirements physically. But they didn't. So they practiced patience. They practiced generosity in their past lives, but they didn't practice ethical discipline, and so they didn't inherit a human body. So there are examples to illustrate this many different kinds.
이것도 이다가 그래서 할래 규칙모 무슨 밀 동조체 규칙모만 보여. 고도 지박이 되면 제 아니 지금 그냥 소마도 이제 이다가 들어올 게 근데 이거 하서 아니 이다도 들을게 벤조 친구 요거지 랑을 용주체 완도 도담해 줘. 어디서 그래 수배년에 집배년에 수배년에 나 수능년에 마시비 내가 좀 모래서 소바다 집배년 이제 수능년에서 마시비세 집배년에 쉬우잖아 집배년에 그 제부 수를 용주 친구 요 이날 용주 친구들하고 용주 마투에 돼도 수배년에 나 아니 수능년에서 레벨이야 어디 제도들이 그래서
Well, and likewise, the Preta have resources. They have plenty of wealth. They inherit as a result of their practice, their involvement in generosity. Yet they weren't involved in ethical discipline and don't inherit a human body. They did not involve themselves in patience and don't inherit that which is required to enjoy and consume the very things that they inherited by involvement in generosity. So they have all these resources, but they have limitations in how they can consume them. And there are examples of this kind, myriad.
야, 안 시험 어때? 다 무슨 것들이야?
Others.
나는 대치도 나.
네.
가서.
Are you guys tired?
아니, 그러면은 아주 가려면은
And if there are no questions, then we'll recite our closing prayer.
야, 아니 오늘 가려면은 뭐?
So here we go, slowly reciting our closing prayers.
에메레도 벨레
소니 하다 영바 간시 사바 로메 마리 기존 로완이 난데 예외 에마 숨베 제라 고이야 잠베 양기 세베 제도 엠베 바쿠존이 주니네 토베 간디제쇼 랑게 제제 도베 람지네 쇼자 세베 장베 탑게 로웨 이게 문바 세제네 겨웨 템바 이게 엠바르진 저게 마야와 자자냐와 유베 초데 인제 짐보이랑 게와이 펜데 템데 서워라 제버라쇼 세제 자웨 메공제레 데쿠 관계렘베 바르나게 예바 베데제 야웨 Lamzan döje rücece yege sece medam yemek Tera kundu gave mabayi Namda landa deva magirce Kanze teba jolo çöcü Sücü dola tümbe dite Tude namgi tadı röcece Taji gazo çögü yagir From my two collections, vastest faith that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of the paths, the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang to shine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful generous and counsel, please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious thus gone ones of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Boddhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of Boddhisattva that has not arisen rise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Thank you. Now, please practice the application of the antidote powers. And in every spiritual tradition, there are these antidote powers. The Christian people go to church on Sundays. And the Muslim go on Saturday. And the Buddhists go on the 15th of the lunar month. And for those who and those Buddhists with the secret mantrayana vows attend to things on the 10th of the lunar month and the 25th as well. The 10th of the month is the father aspect, the 25th the mother aspect. That's like that. So those are the times for the application of the antidote powers. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.
Sunday, for those of you who are coming, we all need to park in the lower parking lot.
Right. Park down there, yeah. Right.
The parking house there.
Oh, we're making new parking lot.